Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here with a new video. In this video I will be showing you my entire yarn stash. I don't know if this is even fun to watch, but I'm kind of a noisy person and I quite often wonder what other people have in their stash. This is like 95% of my yarn because I did not count for the yarn that is currently being used in the works in progress items that I have. And then I also have some yarn on the way for some samples and designs that I have coming up. But other than that, this is everything that I have. So the first yarn that I have is cursed because I've made 4 different projects with it and they've all been frogged. So it's kind of cursed. I've thought about selling it, but I do still really like this yarn. And it's the Kacha yarn concept, cotton merino. I feel like I've talked about this before, but I will put like the weight and the needle size on the screen because it's just too much and kind of boring to tell you. I have one project that's about to be frogged. Next up in my yarn stash I have 9 of these drop sparrows in a really nice purple color. I showed this in my summer knitting plans video that I'm gonna make a really nice top with this with a crochet collar. So I'm excited to cast that on. And I'm actually now crocheting a top in this yarn and it's actually really nice for crochet. Then the next yarn that I have is one of my favorite yarns that I've tried so far. It's the Mayflower Elba yarn. And I have 4 of these balls in a beautiful old pink color. Obviously a lace weight yarn. It's a brushed Suri alpaca. And this is a really nice replacement for if you have any mohair sensitivities. It's just incredibly soft. Now that I'm talking about that yarn, I might as well show you the yarn that I'm holding with it. And it's gonna be this yarn. This yarn is hand dyed by, like I mentioned always, my favorite hand dyer, Wool met Verve. It's a Dutch company and it's really beautiful, a fingering weight sock yarn. Speaking of sock yarns, I also have this one that has not been wound up yet. So it's still full skein. They're basic sock yarn, so it is virgin wool with 25% biodegradable nylon. So it's actually really interesting that it's biodegradable. And it's just really nice, lovely colors. I don't have any plans for this yet. So it's just sitting around. I might as well continue with some more fingering weight yarn. This is again Wool met Verve. Beautiful basic sock hand dyed yarn. I have 2 of these. I also had plans for this, but I can tell you that those plans have also changed. So as of now, they don't have any plans. And I just showed you that Mayflower Elba yarn, and I actually have 4 more in this lovely creamy color. A really nice neutral just to have in stash. Although I do have a project planned with it. And I will show you that yarn later, but it's gonna be for a cardigan. The next yarn that I have is something that I got quite recently, and I got this because it's a really nice replacement for the merino from Knitting for Olive. And I also got it because this is, it has like speckles inside, but it's not like the price of hand dyed yarn. So for me, sometimes I get a little bit bored with plain dyed yarn. And it's the Cool Wool Baby Print Punto by, I believe this is, Lana Grossa. I never know how to pronounce it. I pronounce it the Dutch way with a G, so sorry about that. So yeah, I have 3 of these. The next yarn that I have is leftover from the crochet pants that I did in my first knitting podcast. And it's the Nako, that's the brand. And then the yarn itself is called Angora Lux. It's mostly acrylic, but it has some wool and mohair in there. And I believe it's like a lot of meters on there. Yeah, it's 550 meters, so this is 1100 meters together. So we'll have to see what I end up making with this. As for now, I don't really have any plans. When I finish the pants, I really thought I would like a matching top, but I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. But I do like this yarn. It could be also nice maybe for a blanket in the future. Then the next yarn that I have is some beautiful hand dyed fingering weight yarn. I showed this in my knitting plans video for the summer and I was gonna make a couture top with that. but I've actually already changed my mind. That's how fast things go around here. And I'm gonna be using this instead as a stripe for Abbey Ganser, I believe it's how it's called, the pattern from Sande's Garn. Then the next yarn that I have is Durable Socks yarn. This is the yarn that I made my first socks in, and when I got that yarn I also got it in this color because I really like this pink. It's one of my favorite colors. And I don't have a certain pattern in mind, but I'm sure I will use this soon because I do quite like knitting socks and I feel like it's a very affordable project to have in between. Then we have some Drops Flora. This is also a fingering weight yarn, I believe. I have 4 in this. This is one of their newest color. I believe it's called Caramel. And I'm using it for an Augustine's number 7, I think it is, but it's hibernating. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be finishing it in the winter. I hope so. But I put that project in hibernation because it felt very wintry, but also because it wasn't very exciting to me. It was a lot of stock in it and I just don't really feel like working on it, so it's hibernating. But I do also have one Drops Flora in a cream color that I'm planning to knit a really nice scarf with. The whip that's hibernating, because it's right here, it's this one. I do have quite a lot done, but I do think it looks really nice with the mohair. And as always, I think it feels really nice like this, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel when I wear it. So that's also why I'm hesitant about finishing it, because I don't want it to be a project that I end up selling. Although that's not the end of the world, but of course it would be nice to be able to wear some of my knits instead of selling them. So speaking of that project, I still have 2 of these mohair kit silk from Drops in my stash, also in that caramel color. Not the best mohair that I've tried so far. I think Drops, it's decent for the price, but I do think maybe there are better mohairs out there, so I am willing to give mohair maybe another try, I'm not sure. But as of now I do have still some mohair in my stash. Then I have some more lace weight yarn. This is the Dreamline Air by the store Alpaca. This yarn they don't actually sell in a lot of places, I feel like. They do sell it on Linde Hobby, which is an international website, the one where the name changes depending on the country where you live. But it's a Syria alpaca with polyamide. If you compare it to the Mayflower Elba is much softer. Like this just feels like freaking smooth as butter, fluffy fuzziness. And then this one just feels a little bit more, almost like it's kind of a felted wool, I'm not sure. Maybe you can also see on camera if there's a difference. I feel like maybe this one also looks just a little bit more fluffy compared to this one. Then I have lace weight, another mohair replacement or alternative. This is the Seta Suri from Lana Grossa. Yes. And this one definitely feels the most like a mohair, probably because it has silk in there. Because yeah, this one has 31% silk. So now for the ultimate test. We can see them all together. And you can decide. To me the Mayflower Elba is definitely the softest out of these 3. This one gives you the most of the mohair feeling because it just has that silk in there. This one feels a little bit more like it's felted and like more polyamide feeling, and then this one is just buttery, soft, Suri alpaca. So yeah, hope that helps you a little bit if you are also a little bit sensitive to mohair. Then I have these 2. That is the basic merino from Katja. This was originally planned for a scarf number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I've since then made that scarf in a hand-dyed yarn, and I do think I will make it again, maybe in this yarn. But I've since then also thought about making this into a tank top or like a bralette kind of thing, because I don't really like wearing bras, and I actually quite like the idea of a wool bralette bra situation, especially in the winter. Next up we have some cotton yarn. This is the Drops Saffron in this mauve color. I do believe the actual color of this is mauve. It's a fingering weight cotton yarn, and The knitted skirt that I made in Drops Paris, it's behind me actually, that was the first time that I knit in cotton ever. And it was quite a new experience to me. I feel like when you knit with cotton, it's nice when you use a looser gauge. It makes it much more of a comfortable experience and also easier on your hands. And for some reason with a fingering weight yarn, that just doesn't work for me. I think a good pattern for this would be the Look at My Holes by James Watts that a lot of people have knitted. It's not really my style though, so I don't think I would ever wear that. So as of now I'm just saving it up. I think it will be eventually used in a crochet project because crocheting cotton is a very different experience from knitting it. The next one that I have is actually a really fun one, and I don't have any plans for this, but it will be nice to use it. But it's a glitter wheat cone. I got this from the Hobby website and it's in a copper brown color. Really nice actually. So now that I'm thinking about it, I actually think I'm gonna knit a cardigan in like a plain white color and then use this. So it will be a little bit more fun and elevated. Like I said, I always want to have something extra. Even though I really like my basics, I think some glitter is just the thing that I need for that cardigan. Then we have some 100% alpaca yarn. This is the Fairy Tale by Dustor Alpaca. Also showed this in my last video. This is another one where the plans have changed. I don't know, it's like a common theme. I choose and I plan. I'm always planning things and then plans, they always end up changing. It's a never-ending story, honestly. But this is going to be the cardigan that I keep talking about, the brioche cardigan. It's called the Brook Cardigan by Sandesgarn. It's in the same book of the Abbey Ganser, so that's a really nice one. I should say that the bin that I'm getting into now is the white bin, so everything that you see now is white. But the next yarn that I have is, I believe, 10 skeins of the Drops Lima yarn. This is almost the same as the Drops Nepal, but like a lighter weight. So it's also, yeah, 65% wool, 35% alpaca. Really nice. I do think I prefer this from the Drops Nepal. I think the weight is the reason why I don't really love the Drops Nepal. It's a little bit too heavy for me. But it's a really nice neutral color, so it can be used for practically anything. And I have 10 of them, so it will be no issue to find something to use for it. Then we're almost at the end. The next yarn is Lindegarn Inca. It's a blow yarn. I've used this yarn before for my sorbet sweater by Kutova Kika. And this is a really nice creamy color. And I have 11 of these that I'm gonna use for an Augustine's dress, maxi length. And it's gonna be really nice. The last yarns that I have are just some undyed yarns that I'm planning to dye myself. So I'm not gonna show those because you will see those in another video where I will be attempting to dye my own yarn and use them for some projects. I hope you guys enjoyed this somewhat impromptu video of me showing my entire yarn collection and stash. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!